Hey everybody, this is Bob Kovacs here at Wirefly with a review of the new T-Mobile myTouch by LG. As many of you know, T-Mobile had a series of myTouch phones that were all made by HTC. That's going back for maybe a couple of years now. But about a month ago, they rolled out the new myTouch series by LG, and there's two of them. There's one with a keyboard and there's one without a keyboard. This is the one without a keyboard, and again, it's called the myTouch by LG. The brand is T-Mobile, but the phone is made by LG. So, let's take a look at the brand new myTouch by LG. Now, even as this phone came out, there's still a couple of myTouch phones that are out that are still made by HTC. One of those is the myTouch 4G Slide, and that's a pretty darn good phone. It came out this past summer. Very nice phone. It really is a higher performance phone than the new myTouch by LG's, but the myTouch by LG phones, both of them, are very affordable. So T-Mobile has taken the myTouch series of phones down to the affordable level, and they've not actually left out everything. There's some pretty good stuff here in the myTouch by LG, so let's talk about it. First of all, it has a 1 gigahertz processor. This is a single core processor, but it's a pretty quick processor. It has 512 megabytes of processor RAM. What you see is a 3.8-inch diagonal screen. Now, this has a resolution of 480 by 800 pixels, and it is an AMOLED screen. Now, for those of you who don't know, AMOLED stands for Active Matrix Organic Light Emitting Diode. There's going to be a pop quiz about that later in this review. So, the myTouch by LG has a 5 megapixel camera that can do 720p HD video. Now note that it does not have an LED flash. Under the cover is a 1500 milliamp hour battery, and now the myTouch by LG can do T-Mobile's HSPA plus high-speed data. Now that's 4G data. This is good for a theoretical 21 megabits per second. That's the theoretical high-speed limit that you have with the myTouch by LG. In practice, you might get 10 megabits of download speed, maybe 15 if you're really lucky and you did your homework and you ate your vegetables. But generally speaking, 5 to 10 is pretty common that you'll get with the myTouch by LG because of its 21 megabit theoretical ceiling for the download speed. Now this guy has Android 2.3.4, and one of the things that they did with this guy is they made it very light. This is bigger than an iPhone, not a lot bigger, but it's a little bit bigger than an iPhone. It's got a bigger display than an iPhone, but it weighs considerably less than an iPhone. This weighs 3.7 ounces. That's with the battery installed. That is an outstanding weight, and you practically won't feel this if you drop it in a pocket, at least from a weight standpoint. Very nice. So I really appreciate the weight and the reasonably sized display that you get here on the myTouch by LG, and I like the AMOLED technology. It really looks pretty darn good. Now internally you've got 1 gigabyte of internal storage for your files, and it does have a micro SD slot, and it comes out of the box with a 2 gigabyte card loaded in the micro SD slot. So here you go. Now there are some interesting features here in the myTouch. Notice that it says it has gesture features, but if you look at these things here, the gestures that it has are all from tapping the screen or turning it over. For instance, if you get a phone call and you want to mute the phone call, all you have to do is turn it over and it'll mute the phone call. If you want to go to snooze to stop an alarm, you turn it over. If you want to mute it, well, that's like when you get a phone call, you just turn it over. The gestures are not so much as waving your hand. I thought that some phones now actually support waving as gestures. This doesn't seem to support those, but it does have a whole menu of items that you can do just by physically doing something to it, like tapping it or turning it over. So let's go back to the main display. Now it does a pretty good job with YouTube. Now it says I have 4G. I don't think that I really have very good 4G speeds down here, but we'll give it a bit of a try and see if it'll work with one of the videos that I've done before. Let's try the Charlotte Lemons video. This is a video I shot down in Charlotte. I'm going to see if I can go to HQ. And it actually started pretty fast, so maybe I am getting some good 4G speeds down here. I'm going to try to turn it up.
4 hours of Lemons is a fun car race, and it's meant to be easy for people to enter and easy for people to compete. And there are...
This is a video that I shot down at the Charlotte Motor Speedway of a fun race that basically involves junkyard cars that people fix up and race.
As you can tell, people have a lot of fun with their...
So there you go. That actually loaded way faster than I was expecting. So apparently maybe I do have 4G speeds here. For the longest time, although it would say 4G, I wouldn't actually get 4G speeds down here in the studio. It would be kind of slow, but this is actually a pretty good speed. So that's what YouTube looks like. I thought that was pretty good. I'm going to run a Quadrant speed test here, and we'll see what result we get for a Quadrant speed test. Now, as I said, this is a single core phone, so this is actually a reasonably accurate test of what you're going to get. I'm going to turn the camera off, and we'll come back and pick it up when the test is ready to wrap up. This is the last of the visual test that's part of Quadrant, so I do want to get the results. And here you go. The Quadrant result is 1,377. That's pretty good. It's not bad for a single processor, single core processor phone. Now the myTouch 4G that came out a year ago, that got Quadrant scores 1,800, 1,900, something like that. So this is considerably less than that. This is not intended to be a powerful phone. It's intended to be a good quality, affordable phone. So that's the result there of the Quadrant test. Let's go back. Now I also took some photos. I mentioned that it has a 5 megapixel still image camera. I set up a little still life on my desk upstairs, and here's what the still life looks like. It's not bad. It's a little noisy. It's a little soft on the contrast. Now I did a close-up, a macro shot, and you can see that the sharpness is pretty good, especially the pinpoint there. That thumbtack came out very sharp. You can read the coin, and so that looks fairly good. Again, the noise level is fairly high. I have to say that there's not much light at my desk, so it's kind of making do with what light there is. Not fantastic, but not bad at all. Pretty much what you might expect. And then I took a flesh tone test. Now this is Luis on the left and Jen on the right. And again, there's no flash on this, so their faces are a little darker than I would like. I like to use the flash and get a little sparkle in their eyes. Not getting that here. It did seem to focus on the background a little bit more than it did on their faces. The focus isn't bad. Again, the photo is kind of noisy, not really a fabulously clear and noise-free photo. But again, considering this is an affordable phone, at times, maybe right now, the phone is free on Wirefly. So not too bad overall. Could be better, but not too bad. Then I took the phone outside to shoot some video. So here's what 720p video looks like from the myTouch by LG. Shooting video with the new LG myTouch. This is the T-Mobile myTouch by LG. And you know, it's a bright sunny day. It is deep in the fall. It's late November, and look at how the sun is bursting through that tree. Most of the leaves are gone on many of the trees, although that happens to be one that still has a lot of leaves. In any event, we've got bright sun here on the building, and the display on the myTouch by LG is certainly bright enough for me to see it. I'm very curious to know how it sounds, and as you can see, as I tilt down, it'll brighten up so that you can see the grass better, and then as I go back up into the bright sky, everything darkens to adjust itself for the brighter image. So that's what it looks like with 720p HD video on the myTouch by LG. Now, I thought the video was kind of contrasty. The blacks were very blacks and the brights were very bright. So, but not, again, too bad. Again, although it was in the bright sunshine outside, I thought the 720p video was a little noisier than I would like. But again, not too bad. 720p HD video is not too bad at all from a cell phone that is, well, affordable in the sense that this phone is affordable. So what do I think? Now, the myTouch by LG isn't as powerful as the myTouch 4G that came out a year ago, and it's definitely not as powerful as the myTouch 4G Slide that came out this past summer. Both of those phones were made by HTC, but they cost a lot more. Considering this is an affordable phone, it puts a decent amount of power into a very lightweight and comfortable to hold package. I mean, this is very nice. The AMOLED display is bright and clear, and it has very sharp and very bold colors, as AMOLED displays do. So I like the look of the display a lot. So now, if you consider that this is in a class of affordable phones, I think the myTouch by LG is a very good affordable phone. It's about as good as you're going to get on T-Mobile for a phone that falls into that class where it's going to be free or very low cost. Well, that's my review of the T-Mobile myTouch by LG. It's a pretty good phone, especially when you consider that it is an affordable phone. Now, of course, if you're looking for a new phone, Wirefly would like to be your supplier. Wirefly is the largest retailer online for cell phones in the U.S., and we deserve that because we've been at it for years and do a great job at it. So if you're looking for a new phone, why don't you give Wirefly a try? Hey everybody, this is Bob Kovacs here at Wirefly. Thanks for watching.